What up, gamers? Who's ready for some more modern action? This time we've got Hardened Scales versus Orzhov Zombies. And I know you're looking at it and go, these are not playing the best Mox Opal deck right now in Modern, and you would be correct. We are not showcasing the Underworld Breach combos that exist because they aren't going to exist for much longer. Let's be honest. If you have been watching the SCG events over the weekend, you know just how dominating a deck that is, and it's not something that will be existing in Modern for much longer, most likely because this is March and we do have a ban list coming up soon, so that means that we will be seeing, well, most likely Underworld Breach gone. There's discussion, maybe Mox Opal will be gone, but at the same time, things like Hardened Scales, things like Affinity aren't really top tier decks. What's cool about this matchup is we get to see kind of the local hero decks battle it out. Players that are trying to experiment and test out new things. Our Orzhov Zombies is one of those. This player, of course, has been piloting and adjusting and seeing, okay, maybe I'll try a Golgari zombie list. Maybe I'll try an Orzhov zombie list. Let's see if I can do some sort of draining type effect here. I don't know if they are rocking out with the Soul Trader combo. I hope that they do add it in if they aren't already, especially with the way that they're going, because it just helps kind of create another way to win, add some like Zulaport Cutthroat types of effects, but you're starting to see already the synergy built up. All right, Karen Feeder here, being able to recast our, of course, Gravecrawler, Citrus Supply are going to come out, add some effects. So why would we also be milling some stuff? Well, because we have things like Rally the Ancestors and other ways to kind of return cards from our graveyard. So that's kind of what the Orzhov Zombies is going to be doing. It's a creature-based aggro deck here. We've saw humans recently on the channel. If you haven't seen that, you can check that out. But this is kind of what the zombie list is going for. Other side of things, Hardened Scales, a Blade of the Blood Chief. Normally we see this in a combo deck, right? Our kind of blood, you know, going for the infinite Eldrazi Scions, you know, super powered creature, get a Walking Ballista, something like that to kill it. But adding this in a Hardened Scales list that is already caring about +1 counters is a really cool addition. So it's going to be interesting to see how things are going to work here. We're going to sack Force the Citrus Supplier, flood our graveyard with some more stuff, put a counter on Karen Feeder. Right now, one land here, but there's the Rally the Ancestors that we talked about. I've played some lists using this before, but basically you got to be like, all right, I'll pay 4 mana and basically return my whole graveyard, and then I have things like Karen Feeder or stuff like that, and be able to just keep sacrificing. So you try to lock it in with, like, I'm not running a bunch of 3-drops. It's basically 2 and 1 drop cards, so you can be able to really utilize that Rally the Ancestor as your kind of top end big hit off with that. So now we will be showing off some zombie lists. Like I said, there's a Golgari list that we've got in queue. We've got more Hardened Scales in queue for you to be able to enjoy, as well as some Affinity. We've got some Yawgmoth. We've got some Twin. We've got some Necro Dominance. We have some more of our, what was the other one? Oculus. We've got some Grixis Food. We've got whole bunch of games in queue for you to be able to enjoy. So if you're not following along with us, make sure you guys are hitting the subscribe, because we do have gameplay every Monday and Thursday. But there was a champion coming out here, Champion of the Perished. We got to see the humans. Basically, this is the zombie version of it. Whenever another zombie enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1 counter. And with the Karen Feeder, with the Gravecrawler, we're just going to make this real big really quickly here and just kind of keep growing both these creatures and be able to kind of go wide. So very similar to the humans list. I'd love to see the zombies versus the humans go at it. That would be really cool. Ooh, that's a little bit of a draining effect. So equipping our Zabaz, missing another land drop here, so things are looking tough for a Hardened Scales player, but you notice they're keeping a grip full, and that's kind of the scary part. If you're facing down this, you know Zabaz is going to get bigger if you want to be able to grow your creature, so you're kind of in this weird line of like, okay, what can I do here? I just need to go and push for damage. 9 damage coming across here. Good swing. We could, of course, do some blocking, but not going to work out the way we want. So we kind of have to take the 9, dropping to 5. Then we'll tap 2, and there is our Wayward Servant. So this is the drain and gain here. Whenever another zombie you control enters, each opponent loses 1 life, and you gain 1 life. So you already have the kind of redundancies of drain effects built in. So adding the Soul Trader combo in here is kind of a really good addition, I think. Now, the downside to going for the Soul Trader, it does kind of increase the curve of the deck a little bit. Because, again, you're trying to be running as, like, a swarm deck. But by having just, like, a 3-card combo built into this creature deck, it helps you close out the game. That was something we noticed with the human deck, is that we're running difficulties with closing the game. But, ooh, here we go. This is now we hit our second land drop. We get to start dumping things out. And the dice, there's a couple players at our shop that have these dice, and they just hurt my brain. So we're casting all these 0-cost artifacts here. Market Backwalker, Hanger Backwalkers, Walking Ballista, all these basically for 0. We only cast 2 out of those 3. But this, of course, with Blade of the Blood Chief, keeps growing Zabaz. And now we can turn Zabaz into a machine gun by using Agatha's Soul Cauldron to be able to get that Walking Ballista out. Also, built-in Graveyard Hate in the main board is great here because we get to, start eating the Gravecrawler if that's the case. But we do get to, it's like, oh, I'd like to remove a counter. Sorry, I gotta getting ahead of ourselves. Walking Ballista. Oh my gosh, the dice. Oh my gosh, it hurts my brain. Look at those dice. Ugh. All right, so we are trying to cast a second Wayward Servant. That's going to get, of course, response. Eat that one. How many cards in hand? We are hellbent as a zombie player here, but still we got some big boys. Do we eat? Just move to combat? I guess it's... Yeah. We're going to... Okay, Hardened Scales players at 4. There's 4 counters on Zabaz. It'll become 5 if that's the case. But we can move to combat. Of course, Champion is a 1/1 with 3 counters on it. But 4 damage. Let's start shooting stuff. Kill the Gravecrawler. Let's eat it in response. That basically just resets. Increase goes back to 4. And that's a 4/4, so we can shoot that. All right, so if we remove all those, that'll die. No, it says 4 counters on it, so you get the death trigger happens after. Well, actually, because I'll just sack this in response, go to 7. Yeah, and then no damage is dealt during combat. All right, no damage is dealt. We basically absorb the hit here by doing this, but clean things up. 2 mana left. Let's do Gravecrawler, drain. Sack it again with the Karen. Drain. Bring it back. So dropping Hardened Scales player to 2. So we've set ourselves up 3 creatures to try to go wide. We know that there could be at least some sort of shenanigans that could come out here, but we're set ourselves up for a good first game to try to close it out. Let's see if our Hardened Scales player has anything that they can be able to do here. 2 mana. No 3rd land drop again. I mean, again, going for like a Hangerback Walker or things like that, at least help us out to make some blockers, but without an extra land and stuff, or we're kind of, that's not really a line that can save us. We need like, yeah, hard decision looks like our Hardened Scales player in the tank. I mean, okay, Earthbound Ravager helps a little bit. 1 counter on it. So we basically can reset again. Well, we can reset essentially. There's going to be 3 creatures coming across. We can block 1, shoot the other one, but still take 2. Okay, we can Eat the Blade of the Blood Chief here. Puts a counter on it. Eat another creature. So that's 3 counters. Block. Shoot both the other 2 creatures. Oh, Cavern of Soul naming zombies. All right, send the team. So yeah, we have exactly what we need. So eating Carrion Feeder from the graveyard. Carrion Feeder. Yeah, I guess it depends on what's in hand. So we can chump block this Carrion Feeder all day, which is nice. But this is what we were talking about if we had, you know, a way like the Soul Trader combo in this list, it might help us close out. But we're getting so close. So here's, boom, that's dead. Sack it here, make this bigger. And we'll move 2 here. Eat the other one. And then we'll do it again. And in response to the last one, we'll eat that. So need another drain effect. So that's the other thing. All of our drain effects that we have right now are just ETB effects. Part of that is because of the way that grave crawlers are constantly crawling their way out from the graveyard. We're being able to keep getting that drain effect. But a death trigger here would also work out. Zulaport Cutthroat, Blood Artist, those type of effects there. So even if we snuck in like a 1 of, a 2 of, you know, split a little bit here, I like that. Oh, 3rd land. Urza Saga. Do we have another? Okay, Malevolent Rumble. Can we get another creature out? Again, we just have to chump block the Carrion Feeder all day here. But if we can wait... Oh, a Haywire Mite's good. So there's that counts as a 2nd creature. One that we could pay for 1. So we're not going to be able to... We don't really care about the utilizing of its effect right now. There's nothing to kill off. But the life gain is relevant. So we can trade off the zombie, the Gravecrawler, eat the Gravecrawler, and still have a way to block. So it's, again, like the goal of the zombie is to just go as wide as possible while also having this big pierce strategy with our Carrion Feeder. But not really able to here. But here we go. Going for combat, swinging in, big push for damage, but not going to work out the way we want to again, because we could just go, all right, block here, trade off the zombie here, absorb this. No tramples that we got to worry about. We'll gain 2 life. So we're in this, we're making sure that we're stopping essentially after damage before main phase 2. We're stopping to be able to eat the Gravecrawler, because as soon as it goes to main phase 2, we're just going to cast it from our graveyard. But hey, here's another one. So that's a nice, again, we're trying to go wide. No drain effects there, though. But Hardened Scales player, did they stabilize? Let's do it a bunch. Make this zombie real big. Wow. So what is it? 17 Carrion Feeder? All right. Urza Saga at 2. Phyrexian Tower. Lots of mana now. Another Rumble. So again, we can absorb at least 1 Gravecrawler hit. So we're okay in that regard. Arcbound gets found off the top, which is the biggest enabler the deck has. Here's the Ravager. Counter on Ravager. So yeah, we can just do some Bloxies here, absorb the hit, no problem. We would like to keep our Arcbound alive if possible, so we can just absorb a Gravecrawler hit and be okay. And just send the Scion in front. Oh, a land. That's not what we want to see. I mean, fighting against a deck... I mean, the zombie deck is really cool from like what we're seeing, the way that it's trying to to play out, but it's also a really tough time to be playing a graveyard-focused deck with how much graveyard hate's running around. I mean, sometimes that happens where you run into a deck that runs Agatha's Soul Cauldron. It's harder to win game 2, though, because a lot of players are like, oh, I've got these, Grafdigger's Cage, Ley Lines of the Voids, Ghost Vacuums, things like that make it a little bit tougher. But we're seeing more and more graveyard hate in the main board, and part of that is because of grinding station decks and things like that. You're running that Relic of Progenitus and things like that main board. So Agatha's Soul Cauldron is a tried and true card, not only in Hardened Scales, but also a Yawgmoth list. So you should expect to see those types of things. So having maybe ways to fight against that could be useful. Usually we'll see those in the sideboard, though, for players. But black and white, a little bit tougher. White helps us out because we do get things like actual graveyard hate, or not graveyard. Well, we do get graveyard hates, but like we want more of like artifact hate that we could be able to use. And there are some really good ones that players can be able to utilize here. But we see combat coming across here. Before damage. But yeah, like Stony Silence would be great here. I don't know if there's any in the list, but yeah, eat, boom, boom, boom.
Oh, my spawn, thank you. It's on the back of the Costco receipt.
Yeah, what do you all use for tokens? Our Hardened Scales player says, yeah, my Scion just happens to be drawn on the back of a Costco receipt, so it's great. We've talked about it before. It's like I've used different things like One Piece cards. Pokemon cards seem to be like a big card that is utilized for tokens, at least at our LGS. I don't know if your LGS is like that, where they're like, yeah, we're going to use this Larvitar to represent this, or these, whatever cards they pick. But Zabaz coming out is going to be a problem. I was like, did we make the turn? Have we stabilized enough here? It's looking like it. Modular 1, of course. Also, we get to do some destroying of artifacts, gain some flying, do some fun things like that. All right, 1 mana floating. Oh, a second Arcbound. Yeah, I think we're going to wrap things up. We've got a Walking Ballista underneath, so this means that all of these have the ability to start shooting. Zabaz can, of course, get eaten, do some blocking, get eaten, and we can sit here and block all day. But we're going to poke in 2 damage. Could we kill here? I don't think so. Let's see. Put a counter on thing. Makes it into 3. Eat it. 4, 5, 6, 7. Another Gravecrawler? Wow, that's all the Gravecrawlers? Alright. We know something's going to get eaten. Boom. Do some blocking. Before damage, we'll, of course, use the Arcbound to gobble it up. I guess spread the wealth out, right? Just, yeah. There we go. Go wide. Modular trigger. Okay, continue to grow this one. And I guess we just eat the Zabaz. I guess it doesn't really matter, right? Second response and eat it. So yeah, we're just going to make sure we're not going to eat the Zabaz. We don't need to. We could just eat the 3rd Gravecrawler. Oh, that's crazy. All right. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, yeah. Now we definitely can get enough damage across here. I think that's the thing about the Hardened Scales list is like understanding the lines. Like you start to picture and go, okay, these are the 5, 6, 7 different ways that I can kill my opponent with the tools that I have available to me. Now, can I piece things together the right way that I can do that? Am I going to be able to set myself up and don't get blown out by things? Like, all right, so Swinging for 5. No blocks before damage. Let's sacrifice this.
This Ravager to this Ravager.
Okay.
So this will get 1 counter from Ravager's ability, and then I'm going to modular the 2 counters to the Hangerback.
Ooh, we're going to modular over to the Hangerback, actually.
This goes to the Hangerback.
That's fine.
And then I
Sacrifice this.
actually, we are going to sacrifice the Hangerback Walker.
Sacrifice Hangerbacker becomes a 6 power. And then there's 3 clones. So 6, 7, 8, 9.
Put 1 counter on this, but then I sacrifice the other.
So yeah, 9 damage. And then we just machine gun it because we have the Walking Ballista. So yeah, we're just going through. Hey, this is exactly how I kill you. Oh.
There you go.
All right. Well, thanks for getting through that. I was not expecting our Hardened Scales player to make the turn there. Like, that's one of those things, if you're on the Orzhov zombie list and it gets to that point, you're like, I got them to 2 and they came back. And such a, like, crazy way of being like, every single turn mattered on how we blocked and how we set things up there. But very cool first game here. Going into game number 2, starting things off, we do have a Rally of the Ancestors, it looks like, in hand as well. So looks like we might get to utilize that this time around. All right, Gravecrawler starts, so we're at least going to start chipping away. Of course, Cavern of Souls naming Zombos. Do we got another drain effect? Yes, Wayward Servant getting out early is going to be nice. No Karen Feeder, though, this time around, so maybe we'll get one next turn. But again, if we had our combo, right, then it would, I don't know. We could just kill our opponent next turn, right? If we get a land and drop it down, we just win. Like, but we have a Pithing Needle naming Karen Feeder. All right, what do we got? Ooh, more drain effects. Corpse Knight coming out here. So whenever another zombie enters, each opponent loses life. So that would just speed it up, right? Drain 2, gain 1 every time a zombie will get added up. But we'll swing in for 4, drop a Hardened Scales player down to 13. But again, it's go fast. Let's go. Let's try to end things. Ooh, Ink Moth is scary. Remember how we were talking about there's like those 6 or 7 lines and ways that you're like, oh, this is how I can kill my opponent? That's one of those. Inkmoth Nexus in combination with an Arcbound Ravager, speak of the devil, Arcbound Ravager here, is setting you up in a really tough spot. We had the namesake of the deck already out, the Hardened Scales card, increasing the number of counters that creatures get. So it is looking very scary. If you're not familiar with the Hardened Scales list, and that seems to be the case, a lot of players that fight against it, you don't realize how many like alarms should be going off with the amount of pieces that are starting to be assembled on our Hardened Scales player. So we get a drain of 2, gain of 1 here. And we know we want to send our Gravecrawler across. Ooh. Oh, I forgot to put an art for this. So if you're wondering what this is a Shambling Gas. It's a 1/1 that when it dies, you choose one of 2 things. You pick a creature, gets -1/-1 until the end of turn, or you make a treasure. So a little bit of sideboard Zombo. But yeah, we're going wide. Gonna try to block the Wayward. Sack this Pithing Needle, get 2 extra counters, so it goes up to 4. Oh, the dice. So we'll take 4. Go to 4 again. Do we just die? The Urza Saga's going to pop, though. Let's see. I think it depends on what we get off of the search. There's a lot of tools available. Like, we could go for, like, a Zabaz again. We can go, we're not going to really care about the Pithing Needle. I don't know if we're running... Oh, that... Ozolith here is one way to do it. So Arcbound, of course, allows us to move our counters onto the Ozolith and onto the creature. So 1 mana floating, activate Inkmoth Nexus. Oh, and a Zabaz. All right, perfect. Let's just kind of really let's lock this up real quick. 2 counters going on here. Arcbound will allow us to be able to eat the Zabaz. Modular crit trigger, of course, will move those 2 counters onto the Ozolith as well as onto our Inkmoth Nexus. Let's see. Here we go. Boom, boom, boom. 2 counters there. 2 counters there. 2 counters here. Everything moves around. Oh, the 6. Oh, God. Look at these dice. Sophia's killing me. Johnny also has these dice too. These players that are at our LGS. Oh gosh, but yeah, look how big it is. That's what we were talking about. Like the alarm should have been going off when you saw Hardened Scales, Arcbound Ravager, Inkmoth Nexus, because it allows us to just sort of win out of nowhere like this, where you're just like, all right, activate, boom, boom, boom. Whew. Game 1 was really tight and really close. Like that comeback to be able to kind of steal away the victory from like the clutches of defeat, that time dropping to 4 life and then being able to have the lines to kind of win through infect. You love to see it. But yeah, we needed a sack outlet there to really just kind of finish our opponent off, missing out on that. That's what I'm thinking. It's like I like this Orzhov list a lot, but I do think we go for that, like, let's just jump up our threats a little bit more, close out the game. Kind of like with the humans. Like, how are you going to close out the game if something stops you from just aggroing and killing your opponent? Well, then we got to do some combo-y stuff, right? Do some Yawgmoth shenanigans. Let's add in, you know, a Blood Artist. Let's add in our Warren Soul Trader, because it's a zombie. All right, yeah, we got to pay a life. Yeah, it's 3 mana, so we might not be able to bring it back. Maybe we have to pay 5 mana for Orzhov adventures with the rally, but that's okay. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Wanted to show off a couple of cool different decks that are running around because, hey, we know that there's going to be a ban list coming up, so might as well show off some decks that you could play at your LGS. But that's going to do it for this episode. Thanks so much for tuning in and watching, everybody. Remember to hit that subscribe, follow, all that good stuff. Share the videos. But that's going to do it for us. We'll see you all next game.